And my name is Charlie O. Duncan. I was born May the 27th, 1919. And I've lived in Georgia all my life. And I was served in service from 44 to 45. And I was in the Army Corps of Engineers bridge outfit. We had the Bailey Bridge and the pontoon bridge. Tell you the truth, I don't remember. I think I was at work. There wasn't no radio and TVs much back then. But I don't remember where I was at or nothing about when I heard about Pearl Harbor. Never heard of Pearl Harbor. Well, then don't think too much about it, because we never heard of Hawaii or nothing like that, or Japan much, because you grew up out on the country and the farm, you didn't have no communications or nothing. It's like when that tornado come through in 35 or 36 and destroyed Gainesville. We didn't know nothing about it for quite a while. But I remember the morning when it went through, it got so dark, our chickens went to roost. I was drafted.
Okay.
I had 2 deferments. I got home on Friday. I had a notice to be at Fort McPherson Monday. That's how quick a notice I got. I went to take my basic training at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. I went from there and went to Camp Swift, Texas. And from Camp Swift, Texas, back to New York to overseas to England. From England and France, and then went over in Belgium, then Germany. Well, the Bailey Bridge was a steel bridge, and the pontoon bridge was a rubber bridge. And our job was to deliver a bridge up to the front line. And if it's necessary, we knew how to build them. But we usually didn't have to, because the infantry was usually there ready to take them off our trucks and build them. There wasn't not too many bridges left. They blow down, and our job was to go in there on a crane and go down in the river and pull out parts and make up another bridge till we get enough to another bridge to throw out to them. We didn't encounter too much till we got up into Germany. And fortunately, I were not in one battle. And I was lucky there. I saw everything was destroyed. The bridge, the homes and everything, just about it was destroyed. And in the streets, they'd take the bulldozer and just move the stuff around where you could get through the streets to get through the towns. Nobody lived out in the country. Everybody lived in villages, and they went out from there to farm. Oh, I drove a truck, one of the big prime movers with a trailer and a big bulldozer on it. That was our job, but I knew how to build the bridge in case we needed to. Everybody had a assigned job, and they had to stay in line. They said this old sergeant we had helped design that Bailey Bridge. I don't know how true that is now. But when he lined up them trucks and the people, they better stayed in line, because when that bridge started moving out, it kept going. See, that Bailey Bridge, you roll it out. You build it on land, and you rollers there, and you roll it out. And the weight out here on the front, you got to have that much weight back here on the back to keep it balanced. If it's a long span, you had a single strand. If it's a wider span, you had a double. And for a long span, you had triple deck. That and they are half lapped over one another. No, it's hard to say what a typical day was, because some days you didn't do nothing, some days you were traveling. We traveled a lot. And after the war was over, I was driving a Jeep then, and I put 5,000 miles in 3 weeks on a Jeep, trying to get our orders to move back to the state over there after the war was over. You had to have orders to travel, and you had to be at a certain destination at a certain time, like a bus route. And everywhere I'd go to get them, try to get them orders to travel, that outfit would be moved and they'd leave it with another one. I was gone so much, the men in my outfit thought I'd been transferred. I'd get in around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night and leave out about 4:30, 5 o'clock the next morning. And finally found them over in Czechoslovakia, so I can say I've been to Czechoslovakia. No, I don't think there's no happy times, except when we'd go to the cellar and get their wine. I was just right out of Berlin when the war ended. Then we moved back to Großoheim, Germany. I don't know what part of Germany it was, but it's a big brewery, because we had about 80 vehicles, and we had to have a big parking lot. And they had a brewery there. And we let them open up that brewery. They had a swimming pool there, but we fixed it up. We built a ballpark for them to play baseball there. And we used the swimming pool a certain time of the day, hours. Then the Germans used it their hours, same way as the baseball field. We used it, then they used it. German people were more, I hate to say this, but they're more civilized than any people I run into. A lot of people don't know it. Our pilots were shot down, and those Germans would take them and hit them and rescued them and nursed them back to life. A lot of people don't know that. But that's how nice the German people were. I think they were shouting going on, thinking we'd be going back home soon. There wasn't too much said about it. Everybody was just quiet and humble with it. And I was up on the square in Marietta when the war ended in Japan. Now you're talking about a celebration. Now there was a celebration around that square. It's hard to describe it. People in the cars and the convertibles standing up just waving, driving around the square, and the horns blowing everywhere. Everybody was just rejoicing and hugging everybody they meet. It was a wonderful time. To tell you the truth, I don't really know. I was driving a Jeep for an officer, and we wound up there.
Okay.
Why I don't know. Why we wound up there. That was his business. I just drove, followed instruction. I was at the concentration camp when they liberated those people, and I had pictures of that. And I couldn't keep the negative because it didn't have no space to carry so much stuff. And when we got back to Texas, a lot of the boys wanted a copy of them. And we had one guy who lived in Texas, was going home on a vacation, and he called to see how much it would cost to get them printed. And the boys chipped in their money. They wanted a set of them. That rascal went home and got discharged. He kept our pictures and my money, so I lost all of them. But I seen those, the Holocaust camp, the furnace where they burn them, and I seen them people still laying in their bunks, wasn't able to get out. It wasn't no easy thing to see. I don't think of it, try to think of it too often, because it bothers me when I do get thinking about it. Well, it was sickening to see it, and just think that people could do that to other living human beings. It was awful. Yeah, crossing the Rhine River on a pontoon bridge, driving a big prime mover truck with a trailer and a bulldozer on the back of it. And when my front wheels hit that pontoon, it started going this way. Now you talking about scared. I was scared to death because I was leading the convoy and then doing it blackout. Now that was a scary time. What a relief it was when them front wheels hit that dirt on the other side of the river. That I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. I guess I can say it made a man out of me. Made me think. Thank goodness I was lucky enough to get back to my wife and baby. Oh yes, we came back to the States and had a 1 month's rest. Then I had to go back to Camp Swift, Texas. We were going to take training with the new aluminum bridge. And when we got back to Texas, it all was sitting there on brand new trucks and everything. We never did unload them. And you had to have, they was taking a lot of people and sending them to Japan. It was over with there. It was over with when I was home on that leave. And you had to have 40 points to keep you from going to Japan. I had 38. And I was fixing to have to go to Japan for 3 years of Army of Occupation. And my father farmed, and my sister wrote me and told me that Dad was sick and wasn't able to gather his crop. And I said, I can get out of here. So I wrote her back and told her what to do. And 2 weeks' time, they discharged me in Texas. Paid me so much a mile and says, get home the best way you can. Didn't send me back to Fort McPherson to discharge me. They discharged me in Texas. I came home on a train, and where I was at, the train went up in the morning, come back in the afternoon. They called the Katy line. It going into Houston. And I discharged too late to get out of there. And somebody told me about a town north of there that I could go up there, and I still had my Jeep and my dispatch, so I had never turned that in. So I wrote me out a dispatch for the mail carrier to carry me up there to this little town just as I got up there. And before that, though, if I'd had to wait there, I wasn't supposed to get home till Monday. And by getting up there, just as I got my ticket, here the train come. It went right straight into New Orleans instead of going to Houston and having to lay over, then coming back next day. So I needed a haircut real bad. And I was in the barber shop right there, and I heard them say, all aboard for Atlanta. I said, here we go. I said, I got to catch that train. I paid him. And when I got to Atlanta, I got a bus and came, a bus or trolley, I don't remember which one I did. And I stopped there on Whitlock Avenue at the barber shop and finished getting my hair cut before I went home. My wife knew I was coming, but she thought it was going to be Monday. She was tickled to death to see me, and that daughter of mine, she just kept hanging on to me. Her daddy was home. She was 4 then. The Rotary Club at Roswell and Caldwell Bankers sponsored this, and they carried 60 some odd of us World War II and an escort a charter plane, and when we got to Washington, D.C., they greeted us with the fire trucks with water spraying on us. And they was there and they put us all in wheelchairs. And I said, no, I can walk. But anyway, we got there and they sent soldiers, 30 some odd soldiers from Fort Belvoir, Virginia up there to look after us. And there was a little Mexican guy, he was in the service. And he taken a liking to me, and he told my escort, he said, you just go on, says, I'll take care of him. So he rode me around in a wheelchair wherever I wanted to go. So we seen all the monuments there. Well, it brought back memories. You didn't feel good, but memories all come back to you when you seen all those names of all the people that was gone. Same way in the Korean, we seen all those. Then we seen the Statue of Iwo Jima where they thought, right, we seen that. It's off to itself. You've been up there, you know where it's at. So they stopped and let us get out of the bus and go up there and see it. I come home with lipstick all over both cheeks. That's when we was fixing to leave, and the girl, they was playing 40 music, and we was all out there dancing and everything, the young girls. And one of them kissed me on the cheek there. They put on real red lipstick, you know, where it do that. And one of them come over and she said, well, I see you've been marked on one side. Says, I got to mark you on the other. And so she kissed me on the other cheek. And I was print lips on both cheeks when I come home. Well, it made you feel wonderful, proud of yourself that you was part of it.